Hey everyone, today I'm filming the part 2 of a video that I promised you that I would film, and the first part was German habits that I don't see much in the UK, I think I called it, or in England even, and this one is specifically about kitchen habits that I don't see often in England that I'm very used to from being in Germany. Now again, just as a disclaimer, I have to say this at the beginning, this is just from my own experience, so just because I say that I haven't seen these habits a lot here, it doesn't mean that no one does them. Like, if you know someone who does all of these, then that's valid and I believe you. It's just, I lived in Germany for almost 21 years, I've lived in the UK for almost 9 years, so this is just from my own comparison, having lived in both countries and knowing a lot of Germans and knowing a lot of British people and, you know, knowing their perspectives. So just have to say that because otherwise the comments are going to go off. Without further ado, let's get into it. Thing number one is something that will probably change now because of the coronavirus, but it's something that previously I did not see often, and that is washing vegetables. So I think part of this is because a lot of the produce in British supermarket is packed in plastic, and a lot of it is actually also pre-washed and says on the pack that it is ready to eat. This is not something that at least wasn't very common when I lived in Germany. I used to work in a supermarket for 2 years, so I saw a lot of produce and stuff, and I don't think we even sold cut up salad in bags. Like, you just had to buy a whole head of lettuce if you wanted to have lettuce. Also, I remember the produce in German supermarkets being a lot dirtier, so like if you bought loose potatoes or potatoes in a bag, they would be really dirty, like full of like sandy, earthy stuff. And here in the UK I find that the produce looks very clean in general, so I've noticed that some people just don't really wash their produce, so they'll get it home, they'll put it in the fridge, and then they'll just chop it up and eat it straight away without washing it. So this is both loose produce and stuff that comes packaged in plastic. So for example, tomatoes often come in packs of 6 here, which are in a little plastic sleeve and sometimes a plastic tray, which is a lot of waste. And I often see people not washing that kind of stuff. And that's very strange to me because that's one of the first things that my mum taught me, that anything you buy, you wash it before you eat it, be that fruit, vegetables, salad, anything. Even if it says ready to eat and washed, I don't really believe that, and I tend to wash everything, and that I just feel like is a very German thing because all of my friends growing up did it, and I have just seen it way too often that people here have not washed their produce. Again, not everyone, but in general, quite rare. Thing number 2 is something that I'm very sure is a German thing because it's just happened way too often to me, and it's just kind of a thing. We cut out the little green part of tomatoes. We just cut it out. And it seems everyone has the same weird reason to do it. So for me, is that my mum, growing up, taught me that the green part of the tomato is toxic and can cause cancer. And for some reason, every German I speak to says like a similar story like that. I don't think it's true. I think it's fine to eat the green bit, but I automatically always cut it out, and I haven't really eaten it ever. And every German person I've met living in the UK has also told me that they do this thing and that no one of the British people they know is doing that. So all of my British friends think it's weird and unnecessary that I cut it out, but I just cut it out. It's an automatic thing I don't even think about. Thing number 3 is a really bad thing. By the way, I got a blister on my hand, so sorry about that. Number 3 is actually a really bad thing, and it is excessive use of kitchen roll. So I don't know why, but we seem to be obsessed with using kitchen roll for everything. Cleaning, just compiling things, just anything. I just seem to go through so much kitchen roll. I'm trying very hard to minimize it and use reusable like towels and rags and things like that because I know it's not good for the environment. But kitchen roll, man, growing up in our kitchen, we just went through so much of it, and it's just there for everything. It's just like all-purpose kind of kitchen paper, and yeah, it's a bad habit, but it's a habit. And the last thing that I could think about, I'm sure there are other things, but the last thing that I could think about that is specifically related to like kitchen and eating is Maggi. It seems that every German has this in their cupboard and uses it to season a variety of things. It's a bit like the German Marmite, I think, but it's Maggi. We just call it Maggi. It's actually called like something seasoning, but everyone just calls it Maggi. And growing up, we mostly used it to season vegetable soup. So we just used to put it in our vegetable soup. But I've never really seen a German's cupboard that did not have this specific bottle of seasoning. So yeah, I think that's just, you know, one of those comforting things that people just always have to have. For me, it's also this specific stock. So we don't tend to use stock cube so much. We do have them, but for us, we always use stock powder. So this seems to be like the most loved stock powder, and I am the same. I always have this stuff because it's just the best. It's probably terrible for you, but I think it's the best. So that might be another one. But yeah, these are all like the habits or things I could think about. So let me know what you think of these, if you recognize any of these, or if you do any of these, and if you're German or not, because I'd be very interested in that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this entertaining and or helpful. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't and you'd like to be, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.